you've been cleared for takeoff, but that wind is blowing strong. Like a triple shot of Casamigos, no ice. So what you gonna do? Here's how to take off in the plane with a crosswind. Let go! Boom! Taking off in a crosswind can be one of the most fun takeoffs that you ever have in an airplane. But it can also be nerve-wracking unless you follow proper technique. And that's what we're gonna get into. After watching this video, you're gonna understand the proper technique of what you should be doing when taking off in a strong, gusty wind. And after you do that, you're gonna be good to go. Let's get into that thing. Let go! Hey, so let's just say you've done everything right. You've gotten your weather briefing, everything is good. You've taxied along in a strong gusty wind because you know exactly how to taxi a plane in a strong crosswind because you watched the video on this channel. If you need a review of that, there's a video on this channel about taxiing a small aircraft in a strong gusty wind. You are the most vulnerable because you are in a smaller aircraft. So make sure you watch that video. Link at the end of this video to review that. So you all good, baby. You've made yourself to the runway. You've got your clearance and everything. You ready to take off on that thing, baby. You've been cleared for takeoff. So when you get ready to enter your runway, boom, this you right here. You're taxiing, you coming into the runway. That's your runway right there. Runway 69. Runway 69. That's what she said. So boom, you line that thing up on the runway and you get ready to take off on that thing, baby. So you got that strong wind. You see your wind coming in nice and strong from the right-hand side of the aircraft. You on runway 69, clear for takeoff. Hey, one time. So what are you going to do? What is the proper technique that you're looking to do here with the aircraft and why you should be doing it? Let's get into that thing. Hey, boom. First and foremost, you want to start having full ailerons into the wind. Remember, just like when you were taxiing, the airplane is meant to fly, not necessarily taxi. It wasn't born to taxi, it was born to fly. So with that being said, you lose a lot of the responsiveness from your controls when you're just taxiing along, which is why when you review that video on this page about taxiing in the crosswind, you have to pull full ailerons in just for it to be responsive. So you want those full ailerons into the wind. When you get onto this runway, remember in the very beginning, you're just rolling slowly, taxiing along as you're getting ready to pick up speed. So you still want full ailerons into that crosswind as you're going. So you having those full ailerons all the way over, leaning into the crosswind as you begin to start your takeoff procedure. As you begin, of course, to push in full power and everything begin to happen, you're going to notice something. You're going to notice that the aircraft, you can start to ease up off those full ailerons a little bit and maybe only have partial ailerons into the wind, because again, the airplane becomes more responsive the faster it goes as it begins to pick up speed. So you're starting full ailerons into the wind, and then as you start to push in that full power, you can ease up off that thing a little bit, but still having some ailerons into the wind. So boom, you following your natural procedure. What's going on? Hey, you in the green, baby. Foliage. You're looking at those instruments. You're making sure everything is cool. That rotation speed, that thing is thanging. You're doing everything that you need to be doing. Feet on those rudder pedals, dancing like you're doing the merengue on that thing. And you got those ailerons into the wind. Everything is everything. Then when that rotation speed happens, you're going to start to pull back. When you start to pull back in a normal takeoff, what would normally happen? That front wheel will come up, and then, of course, your two mains will come up and you will be able to go on. Well, this is not going to happen when you're in the crosswind. When you're in the crosswind, it's going to come off the ground kind of almost like sideways a little bit because of that wind and because you're crabbing or you push going into that wind when you're taking off. So you got those ailerons in. Boom! What's going to happen is when you rotate and you got those ailerons into the wind, your front wheel is going to come up, and then your opposite wheel, the wheel that's opposite of the wind, the left side, is going to come up, and then the right side. So it's almost going to be kind of like a 3-point takeoff in terms of the wheels leaving the ground. The front wheel, the left wheel, and then the right wheel. The wheel that's into the wind is going to come up, and then that's going to come off the ground nice and easy as you go out. Rotate just as you normally would. Bring those ailerons back to the neutral position, and then boom, you're in the air. But that wind is still blowing, baby. It's still gusting, and it's a beautiful thing. Wind gust 2-4 in that thing. And when you're dealing with that kind of wind, what's happening? What is the highest point of this aircraft? You're looking at that vertical stabilizer that's sitting at the top. So what's going to be happening there? The wind is still going to be pushing up against that, causing the airplane to kind of turn a little bit. That's okay, baby, because you know what it's doing? It's going to cause it to turn as you're rotating out a little bit, and you're going to be crabbing into the wind. Just like you can crab When you're landing the aircraft on landing, you can crab when you're taking off on the aircraft as well. Crab legs, extra butter on that thing. Keep it nice and centered along the runway while it's crabbing, and you got those ailerons in the neutral position. Still using your rudder, still give it those rudder inputs, but let it just crab its way right into the takeoff and then continue on as you go forward. So the same way you can crab that thing on the landing, you can crab that thing when you take off. Crab legs, extra butter, hey, boom, check it, you know the vibe. Let's talk about if the wind was coming from the opposite direction. And this is very key when dealing with a crosswind takeoff. You want to make sure you determine not just the fact that it's a crosswind, but you want to know the direction that the wind is blowing, because there's going to be a significant difference in one major thing that you need to be aware of if that wind is coming from the right-hand side or if it's coming from the left-hand side. So we talked about the right-hand side. Let's run that thing if it's coming from the left-hand side. So this is your runway again. Boom, you've been cleared for takeoff on runway 69, baby. That's what she said. Hey, one time. And you doing the same exact thing. The biggest difference here is what direction the wind is coming from. So you're not going to change everything. It's just only a small thing that you need to be aware of. Same rules apply. You're going to what? Put those ailerons at the beginning, when you're just taxiing along, as before you put the full aileron into the wind. Okay, you got that thing nice and going full ailerons into the wind. You're putting in your full power. You're coming down the runway. You're taking portion of those ailerons out. You got it full in, and then you kind of like just, hey, bring a little bit out as it's starting to speed up, go down the runway. You're checking those instruments and those gauges. You're in the green. All the same stuff, baby. You don't do anything drastically different just because it's from the left. But here's where you got to be key. You also know that an airplane has 4 left turning tendencies. If you want to review about the 4 left turning tendencies, there's a video on this channel. Link at the end of this video. Search for that video to make sure you know exactly what they are and why it's going to be causing your airplane to pull to the left. So think about it. You got the airplane already pulling to the left, right? And you got 4 ailerons to the left because that's where the wind is coming from. You know what that means? You're going to have to apply a lot more right rudder. You need to be on that right rudder even more so than you would in a normal takeoff, because you got all these acts kind of just drive you to the left. So you need to compensate for that. And where you compensate for that is right rudder, baby. Right rudder. Hey. So you're going to keep that right rudder going, and that's going to keep you nice and coordinated. That's going to keep you nice and centered. Same rules apply. That rotation speed going to come in that thing, and boom, you're going to come off the ground. And when you come off the ground, it's going to be the same 3-point kind of system. Front wheel's going to go first. The wheel that's opposite of the wind is going to go second, that right side, and then the left side, the wheel that's on the side of the wind, is going to come off last. 1, 2, 3, you're in the air. And the same thing, it's going to want to crab into the wind because that's where the wind is blowing, and you're going to let it do its thing, baby. And you're going to crab that thing into the wind, and boom, crab legs, extra butter. Keep that thing straight and nice on the center line, even when you're in the air, and ride that thing on out. Hey, boom! And this is how you slide that thing up off the runway in a crosswind takeoff. Hey, don't forget to like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel. I am Donovan Batiste, and this is Leadership Mindset, a place where you can come for free and fun videos about everything that you need to know for you to become a pilot or stay proficient, because I want you to feel what pilots all over the world feel when we swinging and banging that thing. Hey, love you one time. Subscribe to this channel.